Good morning. Yesterday kind of kicked my butt, not necessarily physically, more emotionally and spiritually, but it carried over through my sleep into this morning like a residue. There's just this residue of rumination and melancholy that I can't climb out of, or I'm trying to climb out of, I guess I should say. And mornings are usually the worst for me in general, but this morning it's extra. And so I'll recap some of the events of yesterday, because it wasn't just one thing. It was a few things that just decided to test me. The universe was like, let's test you. It started with an appointment with my dentist that I've got this thing. It's an oral postural splint. I've been working with a dentist and a physical therapist for like 2 years now, addressing issues that I have. And there's a further progression that they want to go ahead and do with me. And so the doctor, the dentist, she was going over, the various steps and the protocols. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm like totally on board. But here's the question. How much is this going to cost? And for me, she estimated probably 8 to 12 grand. I'm a slightly unique case, but still she thinks it's could be very beneficial for me to pursue this. And even before that 8 to 12 grand bill, I actually still need to have some other stuff done. So there's probably 500 to 1,000 more bucks before even that. And then after that, there's even more work that needs done. So in total, we're probably looking at 15 grand. But hopefully it will help with the neck pain, the jaw issues, and then just everything else downstream. The sleep apnea, the breathing, the swallowing, it all is connected. And that was just really, it's tough because who has fucking 8 to 12 grand? Who has 5 grand? Who has 2 grand right now? I know a few people that are doing okay, but most of the people I know are struggling. And so this is all while my van needs $4,500, in brake and suspension work from Les Schwab. And so I've got $4,500 that Les Schwab wants from me. This dental stuff, I can actually start the treatment with half of a payment down. So we'll say 4 grand. We'll just say 4 grand. So $8,500 in the next few months. How in the heck can I come up with $8,500 in the next 3 months? It took me like a year just to get the initial 4 grand for the first step here. It took me like a year to get to that 4 grand. And so I've got that kind of, weighing on me. While I'm also still trying to maybe look for an affordable room to rent. And because I'm just tired of living in my van, and I would maybe spend some more money, but I would be able to, a little bit more money net, because I would be able to food prep better, which would help a lot with my food budget and my weight and my health. So like the desire to food prep is really high on why I want to find a real place to live, in addition to showering more frequently, in addition to, not paying $10 to do laundry. That's another thing. If I do 1 load of laundry a week, that's $10, which, if we roll that into my rental costs or whatever, it's net. I would be paying a little bit more, I think, if I could find, but here's the thing, if I could find an affordable room, but there are no affordable rooms in Seattle. I had somebody reach out to me in response to a Craigslist post I made saying, hey, you didn't put a budget on your post. And I was like, yeah, because I'm looking for a good deal from one human to another. I said this in our text exchange. What kind of rental are you offering? And then they explained, that blah, blah, blah. I make it a priority to be a good landlord, but I've got a fully finished new appliances basement for $2 grand a month. 1 bedroom. for $2,000. And so I replied back, literally, this is what I said. That is definitely not a fair deal from one human to another, but best wishes. Because $2,000, that's insane. That is insane. I know people pay that. I know they do. I know that, like, the people who make decent money, if you're making 100K, $2,000, it stings, but it's doable. But, you know, for us working class people who have to serve you fucking people in West Seattle, that's another thing that happened. So I've got all of this, just the weight of this financial stress just making me feel worthless, making me feel inadequate, making me want to just fucking quit and give up. And at the end of my work day, the first job work day, because I work 2 jobs just trying to make progress in this economy. At the end of the work day at my first job, general construction, one of our customers was talking about the recent assassination. And I didn't hear all of the conversation, but it very much sounded like they were victim blaming. You know, saying if he wasn't so radical, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And it just, like, fucking it's gross to hear that. And it's worse that, like, I have to work for these people. Technically, I'm working for the general contractor, but who works for them, but it's the same thing. I could be wrong, though. I didn't hear all of the conversation, and I hope I'm wrong. I really do. And I'm going to just assume that I'm wrong, because I don't want to think I'm right. So I'm going to assume I'm wrong on that one. But, you know, so I've got all that financial stress, and then they're rich people who we work for because we do high-end custom remodels. So these people are generally rich people. And so it's just, I have all of this financial stress, and then I'm hearing this gross shit from the rich people that I'm working for. And it was not a good day, because then I still had to go to my second job, my corporate job, my retail job, where the new store manager, we have a new store manager, and she's holding town halls with groups of employees to get to know us and to talk about what's going good and what's not. And one of the questions was, you know, what could Home Depot do better? And I was like, oh, that's easy. You know, an employee discount, because Home Depot doesn't offer an employee discount. I kind of get it, but then I said, even if, you know, maybe just one day a year, they do 20% off or something, that would be huge for the employees. But she was like, well, no, you know, we don't do the discount, but you actually do get a discount. And she just did this corporate thing of, do you know about this program? And it's this stupid fucking app that, like, you can get $5 off movie tickets here, and, you know, $5 off a Five Guys burger and whatnot. And it's just like, okay, kind of cool, but not as cool as, you know, 10 to 15% off of the shit I'm buying from you. Like, I'm working from you and I'm giving you the money right back. Like, work with me a little bit. I know she wasn't trying to gaslight, but it very much felt gaslighty, because it's like, I'm coming to you with vulnerability, saying this would help me, this would motivate me, this would make, I'm already a great employee, but this would make me this would make other people better employees. Because, you know, I don't expect a lot out of minimum wage employees. I'm so thankful that I've worked in a lot of retail leadership roles in my life. This job, I'm just an associate, and it's so nice. Oh man, because trying to manage minimum wage employees is a fucking nightmare. You're lucky if you get 1 out of 4 decent employees. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And so that's why, you know, it's just the struggle trying to be a retail leader, because you want to keep your job, but you also want to have compassion for these people, which is why I just can't do it anymore. I did it, but I can't do it anymore. And I know how people are getting by. The people who aren't super rich tech people, a lot of people I know that are doing okay got help from their parents, which is what you would expect in a healthy society. I just have bitterness and resentment towards that because my parents are deadbeats. But that's fine. I've mostly moved past that. I'm I want to make progress in life. I want to do better. I just literally don't know how. I'm working 50 to 60 hours a week and barely getting by, living in a minivan. And yeah, I'll end the video there. This was just a rant. Nothing special. Thank you very much for watching. Much love.